The nature of true forgiveness. Are you willing to forgive? Jesus tells a story about the nature of true forgiveness. The servant who owed 10,000 talents was in more debt than any of us, we hope, will ever be. 1 talent was worth about 6,000 days' work. It would have taken this man 13 years, working 6 days a week, to earn 1 talent. He owed 10,000 of them. How could a servant get in that kind of trouble? Was he stealing from the treasury? Did he make a bad investment? We don't know, and it doesn't matter to the story. What we do know is that he owed a gigantic amount, nothing with which to pay it. It would have been understandable if his king had laughed in his face, when he begged to be given time to repay his debt in full. He would have had to live 130,000 years and put every dime he earned into his debt to pay it off. The man was a fool no matter how you look at it, and the king easily could have reacted in anger. Yet the king was moved with compassion and let the servant go, debt-free. The king not only was compassionate, but he understood the magnitude of the servant's problem. There was no way the king was going to get paid, so he simply forgave the servant. Not much later, this same servant found one of his peers who owed him little money, about 3 months' work. Yet the one who had been forgiven many lifetimes' worth of debt grabbed this debtor by the neck and demanded, "Pay me what you owe me." When the indebted servant couldn't immediately pay, the forgiven servant had him thrown in prison. As soon as the other servants heard what had happened, they took the king, who called the evil man on the carpet, blasted him, and gave him the full punishment he deserved. The king represents God. The forgiven servant represents all of us. We owe a debt of sin we could not possibly repay. Our little attempts to pay our debt would be like those of the servant offering to pay his huge debt. It's ridiculous. We simply don't have the ability to pay. And yet, because of His great love, God forgave us our astronomical debt. Now the question is, will we be like the evil servant? Someone who wants to take all the forgiveness God can give. Are we unwilling to give someone else the same kind of unconditional forgiveness that God gives us? Do we want to lock our unforgiven in the prison of silence? Do we want to lock them in the prison of shunning? Does Jesus mean that non-forgiveness indicates an unrepentant, obstinate, or stubborn heart? If we remain unwilling to forgive our friends and enemies, does that mean we have never truly come to faith in Christ? WWJD. What would Jesus do? We must develop and maintain the capacity to forgive. He who is devoid of the power to forgive is devoid of the power to love. There is some good in the worst and some evil in the best of us. When we discover this, we are less prone to hate our enemies. Martin Luther King Jr.